ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ 2 ವಿಭಾಗಗಳನ್ನ 2 ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹೃದ್ರೋಗಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ನ ಪರಿಣಾಮ, ಅದರ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅದು ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ದೀರ್ಘಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರ ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಏನಿರಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾಯನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮಧುಮೇಹ ಅಥವಾ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಕಾಯಿಲೆಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಗೆ ಈ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ನ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೇಗೆ, ಅದರ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ 2ನೇ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ 2 ವಿಷಯಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಹೃದ್ರೋಗಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇರುವಂತಹವರು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ನಾಡು ಕಂಡಂತಹ ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮವಾದಂತಹ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹೃದಯ ತಜ್ಞರು, ಹೃದಯವಂತರು ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ವೈದ್ಯಕೀಯ ಸೇವಾ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಭಾಷ್ಯವನ್ನ ಬರೆದಂಥವ್ರು ಅವರು. ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ವೈದ್ಯಕೀಯ ಸೇವೆಗೆ ಅವರು ಅಳವಡಿಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಂತವ್ರು. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಕರುನಾಡಿನ ಜನಮಾನಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೃದಯವಂತರಾಗಿಯೇ ಕಂಡು ಬರುವಂತಹ ಒಬ್ಬ ಧೀಮಂತ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವ. ಪದ್ಮಶ್ರೀಯಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮವಾದಂತಹ ನಾಗರಿಕ ಪುರಸ್ಕಾರವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಪಡೆದಂತಹವರು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ CN ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಅವರು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಜಯದೇವ ಹೃದ್ರೋಗ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಹಾಗೂ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ರಿಲೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರಾಗಿ, ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಈಗ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ COVID-19 ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ವಿಶೇಷ ಕಾರ್ಯಪಡೆ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅದರ ನೋಡಲ್ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಈ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಹೃದ್ರೋಗಗಳ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾಯವನ್ನ, ಒಂದು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಮಂಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದಲ್ಲದೆ 2ನೇ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪರಿಣಿತರಾದಂತಹ ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ, JSS ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಅದರ ಮೆಡಿಕಲ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ಪ್ರಾಂಶುಪಾಲರು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಬಸವನಗೌಡಪ್ಪ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ವೈದ್ಯಕೀಯ ಸೇವೆ ಹಾಗೂ ವೈದ್ಯಕೀಯ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ 2ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಹೆಸರು ಮಾಡಿದಂಥವ್ರು. ಮೈಸೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದಿಂದ ವೈದ್ಯಕೀಯ ಪದವಿಯನ್ನ 4 ಚಿನ್ನದ ಪದಕ ಹಾಗೂ 2 ನಗದು ಬಹುಮಾನಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಪಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೊರಹೊಮ್ಮಿದಂಥವ್ರು. ಅವರ ಸೇವೆ ಕೂಡ 35 ಸುದೀರ್ಘ ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಕಾಲ ವೈದ್ಯಕೀಯ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ಅವರು ಮಧುಮೇಹಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ 2ನೇ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅವರು ಕೈಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದಲ್ಲದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ಯಾನಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹನುಮಂತಾಚಾರ್ ಜೋಶಿ ಇವರು ಶಾರದಾ ವಿಲಾಸ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಸಿಯ ಪ್ರಾಂಶುಪಾಲರು. ಮತ್ತು ಜನರಿಗೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನ ರವಾನೆ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ, ಸಂದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸಿಕೊಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮವಾದ ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತವರು. ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಜನಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಕೈ ಜೋಡಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರ ಸಹಯೋಗದಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಲ್ಝೈಮರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಡಿಸಾರ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮೈಸೂರು, ಅಪ್ನಾ ದೇಶ್ ಮೈಸೂರು ಆಪ್ಸೆ ಅಂತ, ಅದಲ್ಲದೆ ಶಾರದಾ ವಿಲಾಸ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಸಿ, ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರ ಸಹಯೋಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ, ಇದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅಪ್ನಾ ದೇಶ್ನಿಂದ ಅದರ ಗೌರವ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳಾದಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಗಣೇಶ್ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಅನ್ನ, ವಿಚಾರ ಸಂಕಿರಣ ಏನಿದೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಯಶಸ್ವಿಯಾಗಿ ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಿದ್ಧತೆಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗಿದೆ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ವಿಷಯವನ್ನ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ ಉದ್ಘಾಟನೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೈಸೂರು ಹಾಗೂ ಕೊಡಗು ಮತಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದ ಲೋಕಸಭಾ ಸದಸ್ಯರಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಆಗಲೇ ಒಪ್ಪಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಕೊಡಗಿನಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ಅವರ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಗಳಿಗೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಜನಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಲಯ ಮೈಸೂರು ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್
ಹನುಮಂತ ಅರ್ಥಪೂರ್ಣವಾದದ್ದು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಭಾವಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಇದು ಮೈಸೂರಲ್ಲೇ ಓದಿದ್ದು, ಶಾರದಾ ವಿಲಾಸ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೂ ನಮಗೂ, ನಾನು ಶಾರದಾ ವಿಲಾಸ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲೇ PUC ಓದಿದ್ದು. ಹನುಮಂತಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಜೋಶಿ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಫಾರ್ಮಸಿ ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮೈಸೂರಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಜಯದೇವ ಹೃದ್ರೋಗ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯನ್ನ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟಿ ರೀತಿನೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದು ಕೂಡ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಪರಿಚಯಿಸಿದಂತ ಪೂರ್ಣಿಮಾ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತು ನಾನು ಆದ ನಂತರ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಾದಂತ ಆತ್ಮೀಯರಾದಂತ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಬಸವನಗೌಡ್ರವರಿಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಅಪ್ನಾ ದೇಶ್ ಅದರ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರಾದಂತ ಗಣೇಶ್ ನಾಯಕ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನನ್ನ ಹೃದಯಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದಂತಹ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಟುಡೇ ದಿಸ್ COVID-19 is a global pandemic. Nature is always ahead of technology. See, whatever you do is always things 2 to 3 times ahead of whatever a man can do, whatever a technology can do. Understand in this context. So the topic, that is management of heart diseases during COVID-19 pandemic, more on what are the general precautions and what are the important issues we should know about this COVID-19. See, today we are really having a fear psychosis, and fear psychosis, phobia about COVID-19 is a bigger disease than COVID-19. As we all know, it is a new coronavirus which is inherited from China. That is one aspect. But today, India is sandwiched between COVID-19 on one side and also the various natural diseases on the other side. So also our state. So there is a significant surge of 19 cases, both in India as well as in our state. And in fact, for a long time, Mysore was in green zone. Unfortunately, in the last 10-15 days, they are also catching, Mysore is also catching up with more cases and more deaths. So this is a worrying factor. See, we don't have any specific today, even today, a specific antiviral drug. Obviously, we don't have any vaccine. So in this context, what are the best vaccines that are available today? Because this one has to understand, because in the event of this COVID-19, which is really spreading like a wildfire across the country and across the state. So we don't have a vaccine yet. We don't have a specific antiviral drug yet. So most important is, yes, what are the vaccines that are available with us? The vaccine today that is available with us, which are very cheap, less expensive. The number one vaccine today is your social or physical distancing. Physical distancing, in fact, if you are keeping a distance of 3 to 6 feet between the people, that is one of the best social vaccine or what we have today. The second one is wearing the mask. That is the second best vaccine. So these are two important vaccine support apart from your personal hygiene or hand hygiene. Those things are always there. So these, because virus doesn't move, it is the people who are moving the virus. If people are not moving, virus also doesn't move. This one should always understand. So let me allude upon what is the importance of wearing a mask and what is the importance of physical distancing. See, 3 important issues is whether an infected person is wearing the mask, the person who is in contact with the infected person is wearing the mask or not. This is one issue. And another issue is what is the distance between the two people, whether it is less than 1 meter, that is less than 3 feet, or whether it is between 3 to 6 feet or beyond, both are wearing the mask or one of them is wearing the mask, or whether what is the duration of contact. These 3 things are very important. In fact, it looks very simple. In fact, at this point of time, these measures and works like a vaccine in majority if these things are adopted appropriately and properly. Asymptomatic, yes, he is tested positive. You can see here, not wearing the mask. Contact person is also not wearing the mask. Contact person is also not wearing the mask.
Tell him to join. You are not able to add him.
Contact person is not wearing the contact is less than 5 minutes, no risk. If the contact between these 2 people is between 5 to 10 minutes, they come under low risk. And if the contact is more than 10 to 15 minutes, they come under high risk. So this, even if you want to talk to somebody, you just talk for less than 5 minutes, and that reduces the risk of infection, reduces spread of virus. Then look at the other scenario.
Hello?
Patient is around 3 feet. Both are wearing the mask. Patient is wearing the mask, even the other,
Why?
and even if they are speaking for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they are, and if both are not very, contact period is less than 5 minutes, there is no risk. But if the contact period is more than 5 minutes, they come under higher risk. Then coming to job losses resulting in loneliness and vulnerable economy and lifestyle diseases. So what are those lifestyle diseases we have today? Cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, diabetes mellitus, stroke, cancer, digitalization, and screen addiction. I want to emphasize an important thing here. Today in India, because of changing lifestyle and because of various stresses, the country apart from people of this state. So as you all know, a heart is a fascinating structure, and it is unique in a way it can never stop. If heart stops, that is end of the journey. And it really pumps nearly 6,000 liters of blood daily. Imagine the amount of stress heart is undergoing, virtually no rest. If heart takes rest, that is end of life. So heart is pumping nearly 6,000 liters. In that whole process, it itself undergoes a lot of stress. And yes, this COVID-19 today, because of its pandemic, there's a fear psychosis. People think today, just because they have got COVID test coming positive, it is a death sentence. No. COVID-19, 90% of patients who are affected with COVID-19, 90% with simple treatment or without treatment, they recover to perfection. Only 8%, probably 7 to 8% need oxygen. Another 2% requires a ventilation, a mechanical ventilation. I am emphasizing this again and again because COVID-19 is like any other viral pandemic, and it is a self-limiting disease, and 90% recover with mild, simple medication. This is where people should understand, because they should not think today it is getting into stigma. Somebody is tested positive in the neighborhood, and people are looking at that house as very, very unfortunate. If somebody is infected, if they are staying in that particular house, it doesn't spread to the neighborhood unless they treat your COVID-19 affected patients with sympathy, with you should have empathy, and that is very, very important. Kindness makes you the most beautiful person, and it is not just even. And don't think relation between your body weight and high cholesterol. People who are underweight, who are maybe thin, also can have high cholesterol. Why? I think all these things has got a relevance today with COVID-19, because you are not able to walk. Even if you want to walk, because of various restrictions, the parks are closed. So you can always exercise. In fact, if you take 1,400 steps, in fact, I myself walk about 9 to 10 or 6 kilometers. I am not going to the park. I am not going to any gym or anything. They are also closed nowadays. From one end to the other end, you can, or you can go to the rooftop and you can walk for about 45 minutes, because always there is nothing like walking. That is one of the best intervention to really reduce your blood pressure, reduce your cholesterol, and also it has got a positive influence on heart attack related diseases. So because there is enough robust data, if you walk for more than 45 minutes daily, it increases your lifespan by about 8 years. And if you are working in a multi-storied flats, or if you are staying in a multi-storied flats, don't take lifts, always climb stairs. There's two advantages, because when you are climbing the stair, it's a fantastic exercise, but at the same time, If you have any heart problem, always you will come to know when you are climbing. What is the typical history of an heart-related pain? When you are walking, when you are climbing, if there is a chest pain, or if there is any burning sensation in the chest, or if there is any burning sensation in the throat, particularly in walking.
Communication gap
I think this one should understand, because in these days of pandemic, doctors are not available, many hospitals are closed, even clinics are closed. If you get a chest pain, you are always worried. What I am suggesting is, look at the characteristic feature of the chest pain. A heart-related chest pain always increases on walking, increases on climbing, relieved by rest. Some people say, when I am at rest, if I start walking, I am free, I am comfortable. Then that is not heart-related pain. That is how you should always analyze. Alcohol in excess is always bad, and yes, some people say, of course, because of this lockdown and COVID-19, some people, they don't have work, and some people consume more alcohol, some people, and all sorts of things. And some people say, no, doctor, I take alcohol occasionally. Unfortunately, for many, these occasions come more frequently. So alcohol in excess is bad, and nobody can advise that as a prescription. And stress, I think this is where the exact problem lies, because fear and phobia and the threat of corona is pushing all of us into a Pandora box of stress. We have to understand, we have to talk to each other, we have to sympathize with each other. Corona is not going to kill everybody, it's going to kill only 2% of the tested individuals, and 98% will walk home. And that period you have to, because today that fear and stress of quarantine, the fear and stress of isolation is a bigger disease than the actual corona. So this is where, so who are the patients who should come to the hospital? Because of limited facilities available, what are the symptoms a cardiac patient should seek the hospital consultation? If there is an emergency requirement, if patient is having severe chest pain, sweating, if you feel it could be an heart attack, yes, you rush to the nearest heart hospital, and there should not be an issue. But if it is palpitation, or if there is a giddiness, if there is any fall or syncope or loss of consciousness, yes, you should come to the hospital, because during this pandemic, we want to treat only emergency cases or semi-emergency cases. And for routine checkup, if you have already undergone bypass, if you have already undergone angioplasty, keep taking those medicine, whatever doctors has already prescribed, because blood thinning medicine has to be taken non-stop, like aspirin or clopidogrel, or even the cholesterol lowering drugs. We have various statins, atorvastatin, rosuvastatin, so many that you should not stop. These are the two medicines. A patient who has suffered an heart attack or who has undergone an angioplasty bypass surgery should not stop this medicine at all. Although prescription, now the government of India has also authorized the tele-prescriptions are also honored. Anyway, you know the doctor, you know your doctor's telephone numbers, you just talk to them, ask them to give a prescription, and that prescription on WhatsApp itself is sufficient, and it is authorized, it is a legitimate prescription. That is how you should able. Suppose if you have a chest pain and you are not able to meet your doctor, yes, in the nearby place only you take an ECG, and that WhatsApp that ECG to your consultant, get an opinion from him. That reduces a lot of stress. So my sincere appeal to patients with a cardiac problem today, those who are already treated earlier, only they should not frequently come for hospital visits unless there are impending symptoms such as severe chest pain. Already I have said what is the typical characteristic feature of a cardiac chest pain. So this is, of course, you can do your blood test maybe once in 3 months. there itself and in the nearby lab. Don't go in search of the major hospital where you were treated earlier. Total cholesterol, it has to be less than 200. LDL cholesterol, that is bad cholesterol, should be less than 100. And HDL cholesterol should be more than 45. And even blood sugar. Of course, today we have glucometers. You can always check that. Professor Basangoda is going to highlight on that. And I will not get into too much of technicality. We have a sitting disease, particularly because of lockdown and all. We are not able to spend time at workplaces, and also we are restricted. And vulnerable group should be very careful. Who are the vulnerable age group who are very careful with COVID-19? Those, of course, people say diabetes and hypertension. See, well-controlled diabetes, I think he should not. He is like any other normal person, and is provided he has maintained his physical fitness, his immunity levels also will be good, and he should not. Only uncontrolled diabetics and uncontrolled high blood pressure are vulnerable, and other group is those who have kidney failure, those who have lung diseases, those who are having previously suffered from tuberculosis, or those who are taking some drugs for cancer or steroid hormones. So those are the vulnerable age group, because if they catch with this COVID-19, the risk of morbidity and to some extent mortality can be little more. So these are some of the things. So we have a sitting disease. If you are sitting in one place for more than 5 hours, it is equal to smoking 5 cigarettes. So we need to avoid this sitting. Even standing is an exercise. That's what I am telling. Even if you are at home, you can just be taking some steps for about 45 minutes inside the house or inside the compound wall, and not necessarily you have to go to the park. These are the things. Sitting more than in a day kills you. This is what some of the statement coming from various epidemiological studies, and 21% increase in breast cancer because of sitting continuously. And many a time, one of the reasons for this sitting disease among women today is many are glued to some of the serials on television, and you believe me, these serials do not end in this generation. And 27% relative risk of diabetes increases, and 30% risk of heart diseases is more among those who continuously sit. So this is the impact of advantages of doing some exercise. So this is how the cholesterol deposits. What is the point? Sclerosis. Yes, fat. This is how it accumulates, and always diet is also extremely important. It should be a low calorie diet. It should be a low fat diet. It should be a low salt diet, and have fruits and vegetables, because you need to improve the immunity levels. It's not just because I will tell you there are various drugs people are talking about to increase immunity. Best way of improving your immunity is eat more fruits, eat vegetables, eat pulses, and also if you are a non-vegetarian, you can always take an egg without yellow. And I think taking a good sleep is also improves the immunity. So exercise and a good sleep also improves your immunity levels. So I will not get into too much of technicality into the management of heart attack, because today heart attack in India is no more a disease of older people. 25% who suffer heart attack are below 40 years of age. Young Indians in the age group of 30 to 40, 25 to 40 are becoming vulnerable to heart attack because of stress, because of bad food habits, and also because of bad lifestyle and fast foods. This is one of the things. So, because probably I am touching my time limit here, the clinical presentation of heart attack. See, of course, everybody knows when somebody gets an heart attack, it is a left-sided chest pain or chest pain in the middle of the chest. Yes, that everybody knows. Nearly 50% of patients, when they develop heart attack, may not get left-sided chest pain at all. It could be in the region of the stomach, and in the upper portion of the stomach, along with the chest, stomach pain, there can be vomiting and sweating, and it can be confused for acute gastritis or taken this acidity heart attack for gastritis and they have died. So if they complain of pain in the stomach region with vomiting and sweating of mind, it could be an heart attack. Some people do not get pain in the left side of the chest or in the center of the chest. They get pain in the throat or pain in the upper back, and so along with sweating, it could be also a symptom of heart attack. So whenever you feel, of course, the strategy of management of heart attack also has changed. Because of COVID-19 infection, preferring to give a clot dissolving medicine first. Patient comes to casualty. Yes, we always take an X-ray chest. See, because of this COVID pandemic, not admitting patients when they come with serious or severe symptoms of breathlessness, thinking that it could be a COVID or a COVID-19. No. My appeal to all my doctors or to all hospital authorities, please, whenever a patient comes in a serious situation, please admit them. Even if you suspect it is separately, and go for a test. For a health, keep fighting as low as possible. Keep fighting as low as possible. One is blood pressure, second is blood sugar, third is blood cholesterol, fourth is body weight, and your body fat. ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಂತೆ, ನಾನು ನಿನಗಾಗಿ ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಮಿಡಿಯುತ್ತೇನೆ ಇಂತಿ ಹೃದಯ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Manjunath sir. It is always, a pleasure to hear you with beautiful, the notations and as well as, the jokes. Can we take up a few questions? See, somebody
elaborate presentation on COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, madam. It is there. Madam, go ahead. Madam, question ಕೇಳಿ. ಹಲೋ.
ಸಾರಿ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಸಾರಿ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬಾ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಟಿವ್ ಇತ್ತು ಸರ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್. Okay. See, before she asks a question, there is one question.
No, this much of description and
yeah. There is one question from Dr. PJ Prasunna. She is asking, what do you mean by type A personality, sir?
ಹೇಳಿ.
She is asking a question. What do you mean by type A personality?
Yeah, ಅದು ಟೈಪ್ ಎ ಪರ್ಸನಾಲಿಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಟೈಪ್ ಎ ಪರ್ಸನಾಲಿಟಿ ಈಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇ ಕರೆಕ್ಟು, ನಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇ ಸರಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಒಂಥರ ಬೇರೆಯವರು ಬೆಳೆಯಕ್ ಬಿಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಮನುಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಮೂರು ಇರಬಾರ್ದಂತೆ, ಅನುಮಾನ ಇರಬಾರ್ದಂತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಇರಬಾರ್ದಂತೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಸೂಯೆ ಇರಬಾರ್ದಂತೆ. ಇವು ಮೂರು ಇದ್ರೇನೆ ಈ ಟೈಪ್ ಎ ಪರ್ಸನಾಲಿಟಿ. ಅವರು ಬೆಳೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಯಕ್ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೂ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಎ ಪರ್ಸನಾಲಿಟಿ.
Sir, there is another question from Rahul Sharma. Then why the mortality rate is higher in other countries compared to India ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
Anyway, I think it is too premature to, at this point of time, the mortality rate in India is around 1.7, 1.6. We are talking about, we are still in the early stage. It is just beginning of the peak. Probably by August end, if I can able to tell whether mortality continues to be low or not. Because I think for Italy, majority, nearly 80% of the population is above the age of 70 years. So there are more comorbidities because of their age and all. But again, in India, if you look at the mortality scenario, 40% of deaths in India due to COVID are below 50 years of age. So here is floating as BCG vaccine, because Indians have received BCG vaccine, that could be giving some protection. And some people are telling the polio vaccine is giving some protection. I think these are some of the issues going on. But ಇದು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಮೊದಲಿಂದನೂ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಕೊಲೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಲ್ಗೂ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಫ್ಯಾಟ್ ತಿನ್ಬೋದು, ಎಷ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ತಿನ್ಬೋದು. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಈಗ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲೂ ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. ಈಗ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಬಂಡಾಯ ಕವಿಗಳು ಅಂತ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಬಂಡಾಯ ಕವಿಗಳು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಮೇನ್ ಕವಿಗಳು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದೆ. ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಫೆಮಿಲಿಯಲ್ ಹೈಪರ್ ಕೊಲೆಸ್ಟ್ರಲಿಮಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಹೈಪರ್ ಕೊಲೆಸ್ಟ್ರಲಿಮಿಯಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿನಿಂದನೇ ಕೊಲೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಲ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ 20 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ 25 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? ಕೊಲೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಲ್ಗೂ ಈ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಗೂ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇದೆ. ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿನ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ವಂಡರ್ ಡ್ರಗ್. ಅದರಿಂದ ಸುಮಾರು ಇದು ಡೆತ್ ರೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಇದು ಕಾರ್ಡಿಯಾಕ್ ಇವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿನ್ ಬಾರಿ ಸೇಫ್ ಡ್ರಗ್. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ಕೆಲವು ಸೈಡ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಮೈಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಯಾಲ್ಜಿಯಾ ಅಥವಾ ಇದೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಮೈಕೈ ನೋವು, ಕಾಲ್ ನೋವು ಆತರ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಹೊರತು ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ವೈಟ್ ಎ ಸೇಫ್ ಡ್ರಗ್. ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿನ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಡ್ರಗ್. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್.
Sir, thank you for all your time and a beautiful talk. Like every time you'll educate all the people regarding
Joshi, should I start my presentation?
Yes, sir. See, before you start your presentation, let me thank Dr. C.N. Manjunath sir for all your affection what you have towards the community, and thank you for your valuable time, sir. Thank you once again for everything. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Joshi avare. Thank you, Dr. Sugada. Thank you, Purnima avare. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Basangoda sir, before we proceed, for your presentation, because I could not join, let us play for 2 minutes and then we'll continue with your talk, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ನಾನು ಪ್ರತಾಪ್ ಸಿಂಹ.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. It is getting uploaded.
Is the screen seen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir. Please start.
Joshi,
We can see
is
that.
this slide?
Yes, sir. It is clear.
Yeah. Greetings from JSS Medical College, Mysore. I am working in JSS. Okay. Okay. Now, first of all, I
Yes, sir.
thank
Yes, sir. It's
Purnima, Joshi, and all the other people, Ganesh and other people who are responsible for convening such a wonderful meeting. I will be thanking Dr. Manjunath because he has given a lot of clarity on a current COVID scenario, the fear that we have got, fear which is augmented by watching the media.
You have feedback link?
Friends, COVID infection in people with diabetes is my topic. But before that, I'll be spending about 10-15 minutes time to make you understand what is the impact that this disease has produced, as the title of the webinar itself is impact of the pandemic on the healthcare scenario in India. Later part of that, I will be talking to you on COVID and diabetes. Friends, we all know the coronavirus is not a new virus. It is a family of viruses that are existing. There are already 6 coronavirus family which are there with us in the world. The new one, the new coronavirus 2019 is a novel coronavirus which was reported in 2019 by Wuhan in China. That's why we call it as COVID-19. Friends, coronavirus is not a entirely new one. The coronavirus, we are living with them for a long time. Starting with common cold to more severe respiratory illness it can produce. It is a new strain of virus that has not been previously identified in human beings. That is COVID-19. Friends, when we look at the origin of this, every one of us know the coronavirus took a world tour, starting from Wuhan, Italy, to Europe, Italy, Spain, 2-3. Least number of accidents, 62% reduction in the deaths due to accident across the world. More connectivity, we got connected, started using the digital technology to connect ourselves, see each other, though we could not physically meet them. Domestic harmony, yes, the father and children who were never looking at each other because of want of time and work schedule, now they had time to look at each other, have an eye contact, smile at them, and gain the confidence, give the confidence. So in some families, harmony improved, but on the other contrary, in some families, harmony worsened. That is perfect. There are several reasons for that. And the people during lockdown got more time to do things which you wanted to do, less stress, and opportunity for exceptional activity. People who didn't have time to think about themselves, what happened in their past in their life, they started rejuvenating their ideas of childhood stories, started writing their autobiography. Negative, COVID viral infection through the media, it has produced a fear psychosis in all the people, including the healthcare workers. They developed a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and that worsened diabetes also. Because every time a person is anxious and stressed, his blood sugars go up, blood pressure go up. There are a lot of negative impact in the terms of a lot of hotels closed, film industry closed, and a lot of business went off. So a lot of job losses were there, and lack of physical meetings. You may be seeing your kids and kids at home, but your passionate friend, you cannot meet them. So there is no charm in life. Disharmony, disputes erupted in some families, misuse of time and harm, and the people got glued to the TVs, started watching again and again the misuse of media by promoting the negative aspect of corona pandemic. Financial implications a lot. Professional work distress to healthcare workers as well as the paramedical workers. Access for the people to healthcare became a big challenge. Social isolation, feeling that world is unsafe, has been the most important negative impact that has happened. Friends, we have to come out of this. We have to learn that this will disappear sometime, but till such time, let us behave properly and try to learn to wash out this pandemic from the world. That is in our hand. So what is the impact of COVID pandemic on a healthcare scenario? Or worried only about COVID? Even Ministry of Health, the district administration is trying to do all that they can do by promoting the support service to take care of COVID situation, testing, isolating, treating. And every time that happened, every day the numbers went up. We are in a position where we are finding difficulty in getting beds for the patients, and that got escalated. And in the bargain, the non-COVID illness, the chronic ailments like heart disease, diabetes got neglected, and people started dying at home. Fortunately, I am told the number of deaths have come down all across the globe. There are several reasons are there. The third important point is in the healthcare scenario, impact by COVID-19. The doctors, the nurses, and the supporting staff in the hospital, they got it. Everybody thought first lockdown, 21 days, things will go all right and we will all come out of this. It never happened. We went to lockdown 2, lockdown 3, and lockdown 4. Now we've unlocked. There's a sudden surge in COVID infection across the country, across the state. Health education, what is the impact? It is very badly affected because we can do online teaching. We can do theory teaching to the students of medicine, students of nursing, and so on. But it is badly affected is practical training of these people, students is stranded. So we'll be able to produce only those when the practical manner. What about research and development health? It got totally diverted. And psychological issues, the most important thing. 50% of the population with or without COVID infection have gone into a stress, anxiety, and chronic anxiety and stress has put them into depression. There's a need to take care of these aspects apart from just testing the COVID infection, treating them. We need to look at the population in general. The whole population needs rejuvenation psychologically, and it's a multiplied approach has to be done. Healthcare industry is in distress. Government asking all COVID players in the healthcare to give at least 50% of the beds to COVID. Even then, it may not be sufficient. Friends, we have to learn to overcome this distress. These are the major problems that the COVID pandemic has produced on healthcare industry in the country, in the world, and the impact is so many. We have to learn to overcome each one of them. As I mentioned, the healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, they have gone into exhaustion. A lot of donors were there to give PPE kits. A lot of donors were there to give masks. A lot of people do philanthropic activity, but that is not enough so that we will conquer the world. And you look at the PG students there, who is testing the COVID test he's doing with all PPE. And the same people, the university, the council is now asking them to conduct exam for them final year, so produce people who can come and work and take care of the health care of the country. So this is the scenario. Examiners and the students are wearing masks and the examination is going on physically. This is the theory exam being 6 feet distance between the tables because exams at JSS University. So impact of the pandemic on healthcare education is also very, very great. The burnout of healthcare is because of 3 dimensions: emotional exhaustion, feeling low personal accomplishment, and depersonalization of the patient. Contributing factors: there's a professional isolation, working with difficult population, expect long hours with limited resources, ambiguous success. You don't know who's going to survive, who's going to die when they're on ventilator, unreciprocated giving, failure to live up to the one's own expectation. I'm not happy because what I'm doing is going to be curing this patient. And personal variables. Friends, that has produced a compassion fatigue, which culminates because of the helplessness, confusion, isolation, being overwhelmed by work. These are the impacts on the healthcare workers which have produced compassion fatigue. In the middle of this, when March 22nd, our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, gave a Janata curfew and asked everyone in the country to clap for the service people who are serving in terms of doctors, the police, and so on. Everyone came out onto the balcony and clapped and appreciated the services. And that produced an impetus to work in this country. And another day, our Prime Minister also made us to light the lamp and give respect to the service rendered by people. We did that. And during COVID lockdown, as I mentioned, the world saw less pollution, the world got detoxified, and we got better off in that area. Let us look into the other component or topic on which I have to tell you. The diabetes mellitus, the world map. When you look at India, was once the diabetes capital of the world because we were having the maximum number of diabetics in the world. But now, thankfully, China has taken over. It is number 1 now, and India is number 2, and USA is number 3 in terms of the diabetes numbers. We are sharing the first 2 positions. India is supposed to have about 67 million diabetics, estimated figures in the country. The world has about 4 in India, especially Asian Indian paradox is that we have worsened diabetes. So the complex two-way interaction between diabetes and COVID-19 sets up a vicious cycle. We have to break it by controlling diabetes so that vicious cycle is broken. Friends, having learned that, a highlight of a study reported in Lancet, impact of COVID-19 on diabetes, a study result. They looked at 7,337 patients with the COVID-19 infection who had diabetes or without diabetes. Diabetes status was increased need of medical intervention during COVID-19. Diabetes status has increased the mortality risk of patients with COVID-19, and well-controlled blood glucose correlated well with the improved outcomes in these patients, indicating that we have to take care of diabetes well. The overall impression published by et al. In the diabetes science and technology, they observed as high a mortality of 28.8% in an uncontrolled diabetic. When compared to a well-controlled diabetic, the mortality was only 6.2%. The uncontrolled hyperglycemia had a longer median length of stay for the people requiring to stay in the ventilator situation or in an intensive care situation. When compared to uncontrolled, like a well-controlled diabetic who would come out of the ICU very early. Patient with uncontrolled hyperglycemia had a higher chance of that is severe acute respiratory illness. Having learned this, what are the challenges for a diabetic patient and what are the solutions when he contracts a COVID infection? The first challenge is, as I mentioned, several mechanisms. The worsened blood sugar occurs, risk of ketoacidosis occurs, then there are also chance of other end of it. They are also vulnerable to hypoglycemia because they may not eat well, because of fever is there, they may not eat well, they may develop hypoglycemia. So there will be risk of high swings in blood sugar. High blood sugar risking the COVID-19 patient to get into complication. Low blood sugar risking the patient life. So what is the solution? Escalate the reappropriation of treatment. Frequently monitor yourself by self-monitoring of blood glucose. When it goes out of hand, please do come physically take treatment, get your blood sugar controlled. Adjust therapy, maintain meal plan and timing so that you don't allow the blood sugar to go high or low. The second is inability to access for these diabetic patients. As I mentioned, we have 67 million diabetics in this country. If they have to see a doctor every month, and that is impossible in this lockdown period, or even a patient may be afraid that he has a comorbidity, he may contract a disease of COVID infection when he visits a hospital. So they are afraid to come to hospital. No problem. If the present day technology, telemedicine is excellent. Everybody can check their blood sugar with their own glucometer or go to the nearby doctor and get it checked, and they can give an answer online consultation, adjust the treatment and check your blood sugar, control it so that you will not become vulnerable more to infection. Other co-infection can occur in a diabetic patient. Diabetic, as I mentioned, is a relatively immunocompromised individual. So he is vulnerable, so you have to anticipate, investigate and treat early. Never neglect a fever or even a small boil or infection in the urinary tract. Come to a doctor, get it checked, get it investigated, take appropriate antibiotic so that you will not worsen. Higher chance of multi-organ failure, as I mentioned, because of the various effect on the vascular permeability, various organs can fail. So you have to have a better control of diabetes, better control of hypertension, and take care of other challenges. The most important factor, whether it's diabetic or non-diabetic, with the COVID phobia, influenced by the media, giving off so much of words are used, you should avoid repeatedly watching the negative impacting channels. You must use your time only to know the current scenario. Close the news channel, go to your...
ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು, ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ನೋಡ್ತೀಯಲ್ಲ.
There is a need of constant counseling, support, and possibly available time has to be used for yoga and meditation. Friends, precautions and advice for our diabetics when he is infected with any infection or more so with the COVID infection. Stress management is important. Is easily said than done properly. There has to be an avenue through which you can do that. Compassion, getting connected by everybody and have confidence that you will come out of this problem is very, very important for a diabetic or a non-diabetic who gets infected. Better hydration, high on a balanced diet, frequent self-monitoring. You have to check your temperature, oxygen saturation, both are all right. Then don't worry, you may not be a candidate for COVID testing. But check your blood sugars or blood pressure. There is easily available devices now. You check them, put them under control so that you are not going to be vulnerable, as well as even if you become a COVID patient, you will be having a better outcome just like a non-diabetic patient. Better control of diabetes with a diet and timely medication. Avoid hypoglycemia. Take timely food. Indoor physical activity. As Manjunath was mentioning, just walk 30 to 45 minutes in your house, in your rooftop, within the compound. That will do good enough. And there are a lot of promotion about immune boosting, various mechanisms. Worth trying to do that, but don't get brainwashed by all those claims by everybody. A lot of players have come into market to tell that I am going to improve your immunity. Yoga and meditation, no question, it will help. You can practice if you can have a good trainer to you. Friends, if you cannot have access to go out, this is an excellent suggestion to keep doing it at home. Stand up, walk on standing, stand still walking, stretch your legs and thigh, push wall against, then give the air punches and try to lift the sky and try to balance the bottle and do. These are all kind of activity which will put every muscle in the body and keep your mind concentrated onto the act, and that will produce a whole lot of good thing. So don't waste time, do these things. Unlike a common cold and flu, I'm giving a simple tip here. Common cold we all know, many of us will have experienced in many times in life. It will be very quick disease, spreads very quickly next day to another fellow, and quickly goes off also. And most common problem will be cold, running nose. May not have high fever, may be having sore throat. Whereas flu, there will be more of myalgia with cold. And what is in difference in coronavirus infection? Though it is also a virus belonging to the same family of respiratory viruses and rhinoviruses, the incubation period is long. If you are exposed to another fellow, you may get the disease tomorrow, day after tomorrow, you may have to wait for 14 days. Okay, 14th day you may get the disease expressed. The virus has entered your body, it is called as incubation period. It will express you, so you have to wait for a longer time. Once you have come on contact with you may have to say, that's why 14 days quarantine period. The most common thing that you have to understand is cough, breathlessness is more common in coronavirus infection when compared to a common cold and flu where cold and running nose is common. Running nose may not be a common thing in a coronavirus infection. These are the few important tips I want to give you. Take care. Friends, as I mentioned, because of the complexity of situation, job loss, and fear of the getting possible infection of coronavirus, we are all under stress. Stress has to be managed. You have to, should not run away and get depressed. Get adequate sleep, eat a regular balanced diet, exercise positive to the possible extent, belly breathing exercise, our Ramdev has taught you all. And stress gets multiplied if you don't take care of yourself. Getting connected to the friends and people, keep talking, keep only talking about positive component. Don't scare another fellow telling that, oh, this fellow died in that hospital. Many people who have died, many people would not have counted how many died of cancer, how many died of diabetes, how many died of stroke. Nobody would give you a count. But now we are getting a count on the screen like election numbers, voting numbers. So, friends, don't get worried by looking at the number of deaths. The deaths have occurred into elderly, with severe comorbidities, who would have otherwise also died due to heart attack, who would otherwise also died due to a diabetes complication. But this is adding factor that we have to take care. But when you take care to prevent infection coming to you, you need not worry looking at the number of deaths that are occurring that is displayed in the news screen. Friends, if you cannot go outside, go inside. And one cannot make you happy until you are happy with yourself first. Having said this, this is the picture I took during lockdown. The Mysore was beautiful, no air pollution, the birds were flying. And management of diabetes, I'll not tell here, comprehensive care that has to be there. Take care to prevent the infection coming to you and take care of the control of diabetes by a possible mode. When you have emergency, rush to the hospital. Don't fear that you're going to get infected, but you don't have emergency, use teleconsultation. Summary, COVID-19 outbreak has severe impact on healthcare industry, including the patient with diabetes. Good control of diabetes will rescue the risk of complication and mortality, reduce the risk. Following universal precaution is most important for diabetes. In summary, understand the social situation. Don't keep on blaming government, or they didn't do this, they didn't do that. They are trying to do, but we have to support the system. Follow the universal guidelines and you take care. The disease can be prevented from spreading. As Manjunath was telling, virus is not just running in the air to come to you. You are going out to catch it. So unnecessarily don't move around, keep physical distance, use mask and sanitize your hand. If it is infected or contaminated with virus, it will go away. Shun the fear. Take care of yourself and protect others. Don't neglect your health. Take care of your dependents. Have compassion to them, your parents, the aged individuals. Have faith in the system. We are a part of system. We cannot go on blaming the others. Understand the difficulties of others. You imagine what you would have done if you were a minister. What you have done if you were a DC. Understand what you have done if you are a medical superintendent of hospital. Respect your healthcare persons. They are also working under distress. They need to be supported. One negative incident is highlighted and it engulfs 99% good thing that the individual has done. That should not happen. We should give a equal weightage to the positive outcomes, and be positive always. Innovate in a way that you can in contributing to the society. Imitate the best qualities and best practices across the world, across the country. Other state has done well, let us imitate them. Integrate your work and be happy ultimately. Unless you are happy, the outcome won't be fruitful. Friends, thank you all. As I mentioned, take care, be safe, be happy, be positive. Things will definitely change. It won't remain like this. Let us all work together to conquer the challenge of Corona pandemic. Thank you all, and I'm once again thankful to the Hanumanta Joshi, Dr. Purnima and Ganesh from the Alzheimer's Disease Society. I'm very thankful to all those who participated to listen to me. If there are any questions answerable by me, I'll be very happy to answer them. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Basangowda, sir. There are a few questions which are very interesting because as everyone is aware, there is a lot of hype going in the media that diabetics have to be very, very careful and they are very prone to get COVID very easily. So can you kindly can suggest what may be the percentage of diabetics who can get COVID easily, sir, on the basis of immunity?
Now, see whether you have diabetes or no diabetes. If you have taken care, so diabetes, if diabetes is at home, he is not coming in contact with the COVID infected patient, he need not worry, the exposure percentage is 0. So when he becomes liable, only when he goes to a crowded place, comes in contact with an infected individual, or goes to a setup where there is a possible COVID infection from COVID. So you have a app downloaded that can help you to take care of yourself. But in other sense, you have an emergency or you have inevitable thing to go to the society, you have to meet somebody or you have to go to hospital to take care of your health. If you take care of the precautions like wearing mask and keeping a distance and keeping your hand sanitized, your chance of whether you are diabetic or not, your chance of contracting the disease is still negligible. But the risk of this will increase when there is a breach in these caretaking guidelines. You are not wearing a mask, but you have come, so your diabetic will be double the risk of having or contracting infection than a non-diabetic. So whether you are diabetic or not, if you take care, I assure you, they will not get infected in higher incidence. So why we are telling diabetics should be more careful? Because they are vulnerable to not only COVID, other infections also. So when they take care of these 3 mantras, I think diabetics are very safe. The only thing is, when the infection occurs, their diabetes is uncontrolled, the behavior of the infection is severe. That's why the serious complications will be much more in a diabetic who is uncontrolled diabetes. I showed you the figure, a study where a well-controlled diabetic is as good as a non-diabetic individual in terms of outcomes. 97% of them will get cured, self-limiting or get cured by medication. But 3% only the mortality, which is also true with the non-diabetic individual across the country.
Sir, before the other panelists comes in, we can see some questions, and it is
are there any other questions?
Also, that there is a necessity of some immunity boosters. So can you suggest some immunity boosters, because there is a lot of wrong information from the media? Can you suggest some immunity boosters apart from the exercise and also?
Okay, doing yoga and exercise and breathing exercise is one component which we need to understand, not only for COVID infection, for any other the health of the individual practiced. If one can get a good trainer who can do that in the beginning, and later on it can be sustained by the individuals. Coming to the other component which can boost the immunity, one is the having a balanced diet, trying to consume the fresh fruit juice, keeping your hydration level better, and supplementation of zinc, vitamin C, the herbal extracts and so on can be helpful. So the claim like say Jalaniti or other things may work to the local extent of clearing the virus, which is just stuck in the nose. But I'm not telling you that it should be done a study to authenticately say it is my data to say that it should be that fresh fruits and vegetables and zinc and vitamin C supplementation are found to be helpful in boosting your immunity. But first is general health has to be proper, and adding these immune boosters may help.
Thank you, Doctor. Now I request the other panelists to come in. Dr. Purnima and Mr. Ganesh, if you have any questions, please.
Thank you, Doctor. Because we are getting a lot of complimentary messages here stating that this presentation was very useful and very purposeful one. Thank you for that. And we have some more questions like whether this coronavirus is contagious through air.
Yeah. Now, so far what we have learned and understood is the coronavirus infection spread through the micro droplets. When you cough or sneeze, there are thousands of millions small droplets which are coming out. Your act of sneezing and coughing is so strong and powerful reflex. When you cough, these micro droplets which come out of our nose and mouth, with the saliva is the most contaminant material and nose secretions are most contaminant material. When they come out, they tend to fall within 1 meter distance from the individual who coughs or sneezes. So far, it is undoubtedly spread through the micro droplet infection that comes out of an individual who is infected. Okay? Now, beyond this, that's why we went on telling minimum 3 feet, ideally 6 feet distance you have to keep away from an individual to another individual so that you will not catch this virus coming to you. Now, there are differences in the act of coughing and sneezing. Some people will cough and sneeze so violently that can go beyond 1 meter. Okay, that's why we say to be safer, keep 6 feet distance away, nearly 2 meters. Okay, 6 feet away from one another. Hardly you will get infected. 90% of the time you will not get infected. Now there is a finding in some of the studies that they never went near the individual even 6 feet closer, but they got infected. So there is a possible element. I'm not telling you to scare people. Possible element of airborne transmission. Very negligible extent. But I'm not telling you from my study or observation, but there are 2 or 3 studies which have shown that it may be happening by airborne, but it is negligible. Major transmission occurs through the 2 things. One, when you're going closer to the individual, closer to 3 feet or nearly 6 feet or within the circle, you are liable to get infected when that fellow coughs or sneezes. Asymptomatic individual, he is not coughing, sneezing. Even if you go near 3 meters, you may not get infected because he is not releasing any virus. The act of releasing virus occurs when he coughs or sneezes. Okay. Number 2, an asymptomatic individual, he touches his nose or mouth, and he uses the public utility areas like toilet, door, or handles, or any common travel areas, or bus seat, or something like that. He leaves behind a virus which is contaminated by his secretions. Another person goes and touches that, and then he touches his nose or mouth or eyes, which are the mucous membranes through which virus can enter to the body. That is how it happens. That's why we always say keep washing your hands with soap frequently, minimum 20 seconds, ideally up to 30 seconds. It's not just rubbing a splash of soap water. You must thoroughly rub it, clean it, all the 8 steps, clear the thumb, and this, and then your hands are clean. So if you do that before touching any article or after touching an article or before using any material, you are safe because the transmission can happen this second medium. The third was a question what you asked is airborne transmission possibly is there, but as of now, the major transmission occurs through micro droplet when you go closer to the individual who is infected. The second is when you touch the commonly used items or areas or material which is used by another fellow where the virus is there, you are touching it, then you possibly rubbing your nose or mouth or touch your eyes, you are getting this virus transmitted to your body.
We have one more question. Can coronavirus infection...
Capillaries in the lungs, it is supposed to block the arteries which are going through blood circulation to the lungs. Okay, so major organ that is going to be affected is lungs. But as I mentioned, blood vessels are there everywhere in the body. So when the cytokine storm is there, inflammation is there, the vascular permeability increases. It can affect multiple organs, kidneys, the brain, the heart. So it can produce multi-organ failure. So basic brunt is on the lungs because that is the port of entry, that is the major organ that is damaged, but that doesn't mean it will not affect other organs. It can affect multiple organs, especially in a seriously ill patient. Don't remember, a simple coronavirus infection who is asymptomatic, who has mild fever or without cough, which is self-limiting, just quarantining yourself, it will disappear on its own without any medication. But what we are talking is when it goes into the cytokine storm, this occurs in less than 5% of the patients, 5 out of 100 who are infected, who are going to be into the critical area, who may go into require a ventilator support, circulatory failure or drop in blood pressure. These are the individuals who are vulnerable for multi-organ failure, apart from lungs. So 95% will not have any organ damage. You ask the second question, will this damaged organ become a permanent one? Now, I'll tell you, the damaged organs, multi-organ dysfunction, when they go into ventilator, if they die, okay, they die due to some of the organs failing, or even basically failure of the lungs, or oxygen exchange is not happening, so body is not getting adequate oxygen, they die. The other organ damage due to vascular permeability or small thrombosis, when they recover, when they survive, the damage occurred is not going to be permanent. It's not like, there may be a minute scarring, like micro infarcts are there in the heart or in the kidney surface or in the brain. There could be some micro damage, but it is not going to be produce a permanent damage or dysfunction of the organ. So there will be some degree of micro damage, but it is reversible to the major extent. Those who survive will have a reversibility of organ damage to the great extent.
Ganesh ji, you have any questions, you can kindly ask. Please switch on your mic first.
No such question, sir. Thank you. Yes, elaborated everything.
Okay.
And Dr. Manjunath sir also said and gave a presentation very nicely.
Yeah.
No question from my side.
There are a few questions in the chat section.
Thank you so much,
You
Ganesh.
can take one or two.
To sum up and give a vote of thanks.
Okay. Dear audience, I'm very happy to share that
Give this platform to express my assessment about the current scenario due to COVID and possibly to the extent possible. I've explained the connection between diabetes and COVID-19. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Thanks a lot for joining us here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Ganesh, sir. Yeah.
Shri Ganesh ji, please.
Okay. Dear all participants, I'm very happy. Webinar is concluded very nicely. I profusely thank Padma Shri Dr. C. N. Manjunath, Professor and Director, Shri Jayadeva Institute of Cardiovascular Sciences and Research, Bangalore. And I also thank Dr. H. Basavanagaudappa, Principal, JSS Medical College, JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Mysore. I also thank Shri Pratap Sima, our Member of Parliament from Mysore and Kodagu, for his address. Actually, I thank Dr. Purnimaji for organizing this webinar during this month. Last week also we had one webinar, and another 2-3 webinars will be there to educate our public on corona and its effects. I thank Dr. Purnimaji and the Field Outreach Bureau, Ministry of Information Broadcasting, Government of India, Mysore unit. I sincerely thank the organizations associated with this seminar, ARDC, Alzheimer and Research Disorder Society of India, Apna Desh Mysore Chapter, APSC, Association of Pharmaceutical Scientists and Education, Sharda Vilas College of Pharmacy, Mysore, Chandana Doordarshan, and All India Radio. I thank participants. I thank also media persons and supportive team of Dr. Joshi ji and Dr. Purnima ji. I thank one and all. Thank you for the positive and purposeful webinar session. I once again thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
ಸೊ ವಿತ್ ದಿಸ್ ನಾವು ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ನ ಕೊನೆ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಜೋಶಿ ಅವರೇ, ಗಣೇಶ್ ಜಿ ಅವರು ಹಾಗೂ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಬಸವನಗೌಡಪ್ಪ ಅವರು, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಪದ್ಮಶ್ರೀ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಅವರು, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶೇಷ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಒಂದು ಮಾತನ್ನ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸ್ಯಾನಿಟೈಸರ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಅಂತರವನ್ನ ಕಾಪಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇದೊಂದು ನಿರಂತರ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಕೊರೋನಾ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೋಗೋದಿಲ್ವೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನಾವು ಇಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಲೇಬೇಕು. ಅದಾದ ನಂತರವೂ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಅನನ್ಯವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Basan Goda, sir. Thank you so much.